Alright guys, I'm going to do this one a little off the cuff. I get a lot of questions about being a pilot, tips. So I'm going to do a short video. I'm going to try and keep it short on my recommendations to start your flying career. Now, this is all going to start with private pilot. Maybe I'll do a video for the other licenses later on down the road. But basically, I constantly get this question as to do I have any tips? Can I help anybody out with getting their private pilot? And do I have any recommendations? Now, if you don't know me, I am a commercial pilot, ATP rated, multi-rated. I fly the Saab 340 and I fly the PC-12 at the moment for Southern Airways and Surf Air out of California and out of Honolulu. I'm also a CFI, CFII current. So I've instructed, I've been in the right seat, been in the left seat, I've done my ATP, and I've done a type rating, a very difficult type rating. I hold a PIC in my type rating. So just a little brief background for those who've never watched any of my videos. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a few tips on doing your flying career. I think I'll do this in a series of videos. And I'm starting with private. Now, the first thing everybody asks me is, how do I get started with private? Well, honestly, first and foremost, find the money. If you can find the money, it will help you out a lot. Now, some people will say don't pay for a program that just tells you this is how much it's going to be to do it. And obviously that's true because everybody's different. Some people learn really quickly, some people need more time, some people need more hands-on, some people need more uh, book studying. So it's hard. And there's no way that I can tell one person, hey, this is how much it's going to cost you. What I would look at is obviously the average. You need 40 hours of training in order to get your private. That's the minimum. There are plenty of people who've done it in 40 hours, but I'm going to tell you on average it's going to be anywhere from 60 to 80 hours before most people get their private. I got my private almost 70 hours, and that was working part-time and going to training part-time, mainly because it just takes so much time to really get up those funds as well as to take the time out of your day. I was basically working 4 or 5 days a week and then training twice a week. And that was twice a week for about, I think, like 2 hours of flight. I did that for a bit, and then as I got closer to the end of my training, it started becoming once a week, where I was basically brushing up on my skills for the check ride, as well as meeting those minimums for the check ride. And those minimums are your solo minimums that you're going to need in order to pass your test. So, like I said, the first thing you want to do is find the money. Now, if you can save up that money or go flight by flight, that's up to you. Those are good ways to go. If you have the cash and you budget the cash, that's great. I would say personally budget for about 15,000 in the US and expect to spend at least 10 to 12,000 on your private pilot's license. You can obviously do this cheaper or it can be more expensive depending on the school where you go to. Now, the average plane rental is going to be, I live in a very expensive place in Los Angeles where the average plane rental is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $190, $180 per hour. So I went to South Bay Aviation and I started off on the 172. Sorry, that's Craigslist. I started off on the 172. There are individuals who started off on the 152, which is going to be much less. It's going to be significantly less than paying for a 172. The only reason I tell people just go straight for a 172 is because a 172 is pretty much everywhere. I don't think I've ever seen a school that doesn't have a 172. So it's really easy to transition from 172 to 172, finish your private in a 172, and go straight to another 172. So as you can see here, their 172s, their older 172s about 160, their newer 172s, there's a retractable gear here, it's about 194. I'd say on average, you're going to spend about 180 for a 172. 152, as you can see, the 172 is about 140 an hour here. The biggest problem with 152s are, if you're like me, you're a big boy, you're close to 200 pounds, you can't get you and an instructor in a 152. You're skinny, you're short, a 152 is going to work just fine for you. So I would probably just start off on a 172. I financed my private pilot. I went through pilot finance to get my pilot's license. And so pilot finance is a company that will allow you to finance your private pilot and above. The good thing about these guys are, it's going to be just as hard to get your approval as it is for any other private loan. Is once you get approved once and you finish your private pilot, if you continue, once you make, I think it's like 60% or something like that of the payments on time without any issue, they will automatically approve you for the next license. So if you decide to finish your private and go on to instrument and you've been paying over time and proving that you are a reliable payment, you don't have to worry about the huge credit checks and doing all this other stuff. They will approve you to continue on and get your next license. So that's what I used. Another downside is they have a very high interest rate. So I think at the time, I think it was like 18% or something like that. They have a pretty high interest rate. But what I ended up doing was, once I was done, I ended up moving all my money over to my local credit union, and they paid for and that brought my interest rate down substantially. I went from, I think these guys were like 18% or something like that, or 12 or 13%, and with my credit union, I got it down to like 5%. Like, it was like really low, and so I was able to pay it off much faster. I took out, I think, like 12,000 from a privates, and I still ended up paying out of pocket for materials, buying iPad, paying for the written test, all that other stuff. So that's what I use. The good thing about this, and if you save, it's even better if you can save up the money and do it beforehand, is you have that lump sum of money, you can buy block time, and block time will help you with getting a cheaper rate at some places, where if you're buying a large block of time ahead of schedule, they'll typically give you a discount on your actual flying. Alrighty, this isn't a short video. That right there just takes up a bunch of time. So it's not going to be a short video. I'll continue going on and try to keep it going. There are other companies. Pilot Finance was the one that I know of. If you decide to go to an accelerated school like, let's say, ATP or CAU or others, they'll offer Sallie Mae, they'll offer Western Union, is it Western Union? Not Western Union. What was it? I can't remember the name of the bank, but they offer several financing opportunities that other banks will allow you to do it. Just be aware that typically those come with high interest, and so you can look at it as you're financing your career, or you have the money, you just want to get it faster and pay it off over time. Whatever floats your boat. I wouldn't discourage anybody from financing their pilot career, or just even financing their fund, because if you really love it and you want to do it, I wouldn't let money be that one crux. You're going to be paying it one way or another, whether you're working or whether you're financing and paying off the finance. It's something that you want to do, you do it. So that's the big problem, the biggest first thing that you need to look at. Where's the money coming from? If you want to do that, go nuts. If not, I understand. a lot of people quit because they can't finance or they can't continue to make payments as they see that, maybe they're not progressing as fast. Maybe they budgeted for a certain amount and that amount didn't help. Maybe they're still continuing and they need extra money. So first things first, find the money. Next, hit the books. Before you even touch that aircraft, the cheapest thing you can do before you even waste your time getting in an airplane is hitting those books. I use King Schools. King Schools is one of my favorite instructional schools. You can do all their programs online, do their tests online. You're going to need a certain amount of ground in order to, and a CFI sign off in order to qualify to go take the written. You can use King Schools, pass their preparatory test, and they will give you the sign off, which will save you a lot of money and a lot of time from going to a local CFI. Their private program, I believe, I think it's in the neighborhood of like 200 and change. Private pilot practical check ride prep. Yeah, so all you really need is the private pilot online ground school and test prep. And as you can see, it's $299. Now, the cool thing about these guys are if you check out, like, what is it, AirVenture, or you look at Oshkosh, or even 4th of July, they pretty much always have some sort of discount on the on the training programs. And so I've seen them where you can get this with a discount as cheap as like $170. Now, a lot of people will talk about Shepherd. They'll talk about some other programs that just specialize in taking the test. What I love about King Schools is those other programs, a lot of them will just get you to memorize all the questions, which is great. If you're that kind of person where you can just remember the answer to every question, you'll be fine. But I'm not that person, and I know a lot of people are not that person. They need to be taught. They need visual. They need the way to study than just cramming the questions. Programs like King Schools have great interactive videos. They have questions at the end of each little content chapter that you're going to do, so it helps keep it fresh while you're working on those deals, as well as they have the programs that allow you to just go ahead and just drill the answers. So it's really good program for learning the content, and for private, it's almost a must, because you're going to have so much information that's going to come at you that if you don't get explained to you, it's going to be hard. And it's a great tool also for reviewing and keeping current for your oral exam. So if you're really serious, you want to do it, you've done your exploratory flight, and it's really just, you just got to pull the trigger, I would start by doing the King School Private Pilot Online Ground School and Test Prep. You don't need to be in a specific flight school or to have an instructor in order to go take your private pilot written. Not only are you going to be learning tons of great information on your own time, but you're also going to be knocking out that written. Students who do this stuff beforehand are always going to have a leg up on students that go into it blindly. It's a great tool for someone who has no idea what they're doing. They're starting from zero and trying to become a hero, as we say. It's a great program. Like I said, $299, it's really good, worth it. It's worth it at $299, but if you just wait for like a 4th of July sale or any of that stuff, you just constantly check for sales and stuff like that, you can easily get this for less than $200 and use those coupons to get it. Well worth the investment. Get those books early, get that written test done as soon as possible. You'll learn tons of information and constantly drill that those test prep information. So that's going to help you a lot as far as getting started right there. That's half the battle, is just the knowledge right there. You'll learn to flying over and over again, and it won't be a big deal. Next thing I would recommend, once you finish the written, once you start flight training, is to use YouTube. YouTube has a lot of great resources, and so I love the Wi-Fi CFI. Wi-Fi CFI is a great tool for keeping the knowledge fresh. If you go to their videos here, it'll talk about topics such as here's your 4 types of airspeed, hypoxia, altitude, VOR checks. You know, what I did was when I was working on my private, I was still working as a bus driver. And so I would drive at night and I would take class. I would take classes in the morning when this was after my private, when I was working on instrument and commercial. But during my private, I was working full time. But I was still working on my private. And so Wi-Fi CFI was a great tool because I could put it all in the background while I was driving, while I was sitting around, and just listen to the subjects, not because I was just learning, but also to keep it fresh in my mind. You know, yeah, they have everything from maneuvers to types of airspaces, everything you're going to need to know. So if you feel like you're weak in a specific subject, or you just want to remember some numbers, remember some characteristics, things like that, Wi-Fi CFI is a great one. Another great one is going to be Embry-Riddle. Let's see if I can, there we go, Embry-Riddle. Embry-Riddle is amazing. If you don't know Embry-Riddle, Embry-Riddle is a aeronautical university. Stop that. Embry-Riddle is aeronautical university, but they make great videos. Let's see if I can find their ground videos. No, it's not this one. Where is it at? If you do the ground. There we go. So Embry-Riddle has some really great ground videos as well that goes over just again, everything from maneuvers to airspace and all that good information. It just really helps, like to the point of which when I did my CFI initial, I used it to help me brush up on the content that I was teaching. You know, I wanted to, you know, when you get to CFI, you know a lot of the information, but then you have to translate it into how do I teach this information? And so it's really great for just finding information and just brushing up, and again, just keeping that information current, you know. And so here you got like soft field landing approaches and landings, and it's going to go over all that information to help you out. And normal and crosswind, short field, even if you know how to do it already, let's say you've gone through it with your instructor, and your instructor maybe you're just having a hard time grasping materials, you know, figuring out exactly what they're trying to translate, because you know some people are hard at getting that information out. They're hard at translating it to just what you can to understanding, and maybe just need a different perspective. So I find that just reviewing other ways of people explaining it, obviously if you're a visual learner, these things are great, and it's a great tool. You know, it's free, it's completely available online. You can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your iPad, you can review it while you're sitting on the toilet. And so these videos are invaluable. You should constantly be keeping this information, because if they made a video of it, it's most likely because it's important to know. Something like you know, on your oral, they can ask you anything. They can, you know, they can ask you good information. They can ask you information on just random stuff like your oil system, or, you know, your flight controls or your engine on your oral, and they most likely will. And so it's good to review it. It's good to understand it. It's good to have not only just a book learning, but the visual, and to be able to just think about it in different ways. That can make it so much better. So he goes, you know, like I said, the Embry-Riddle, the Wi-Fi CFI, the King Schools are going to be some of your best ways that you're going to knock up your game. And you can do all of this before you even step foot in an airplane. And you can quiz yourself, you can drill yourself, you can go take that written. The written's only what, like $150 or something. I think it's like $164 right now. And just being able to do that is going to help you, you know. It's going to give you a leg up. It's going to make life so much better. Once you're done with that, feel free to just go ahead and just focus on flying and use and just keep the currency on the information. That's going to make life so much better. So that's my tips to really help you get through private. When it comes to flying, it's going to be all up to you. You know, it's going to be you and your instructor that's going to help you on those maneuvers, that's going to help you on dealing with those landings. Take their advice. If you feel like the advice that they're giving you is just is not helping you, then don't be afraid to ask for another instructor's advice. You know, if you've got a senior instructor, you've got, you know, older guys that you feel like maybe you're just not getting what you need, maybe there's just one or two things that you feel like even your instructor is weak on, then feel free to go ahead and bring up those concerns, because if you don't bring up those concerns, you're not going to learn it. You know, it's your money, it's your time, it's your drive. And so you're going to have times in which you're going to feel dejected. You're going to have times in which you're going to feel like um, it's not going to happen, and maybe you're just going to continue to fail at something. That's everybody. Everyone feels that. Everyone's going to have that problem, and eventually it's going to go away. You're going to persevere. You're going to triumph. You know, you may fail here and there, but you just can't let it discourage you. You just got to keep going and just remember why you're doing it. It's because you love doing it, right? You enjoy it so much that either you want to do it for a career, or maybe you just want to be a GA guy. Maybe you just want to fly for fun all the time. Don't let others discourage you. Don't let little setbacks discourage you, and constantly keep hitting the books. Aviation is all about currency. It's all about education. And whether you're working on your private, or you're working on your ATP, or you're just working at a company and you have to do your recurrencies and your IFR and all that stuff. You're constantly studying, you're constantly reviewing, you're constantly learning. You know, there's not a day that has gone by in which I was in an aircraft, you know, with a first officer, with another captain, in which I never had the opportunity, or I should say, in which I didn't have to say, hey, you know what, I'm not sure, let's look at the books, you know, or do you remember this, or, you know, I think it's this number, but let me look it up in the book, let me reference something real quick, let me look up whether it's takeoff data, whether it's landing data, whether it's limitations, whether it's, you know, a broken system that I have to review. That's going to be your day in, day out. So this is the time to really start hitting those books and getting up on it. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. Feel free to message me, and I'll try to get them out to you. I was trying to make a short video, but it's a lot of complicated information. So I will try to maybe I'll do a series in which maybe I'll talk about each specific license, now that I've pretty much done them all. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I'll consider slapping that together and uploading it. Like I said, I just did this one at the last minute. About to fly. I'm currently back in LA, about to fly out back to Honolulu. I'll be out there for the next like 15, 16 days working. Sucks a little bit having to commute back and forth, but you know, I'm enjoying flying the Saab, and you know, Hawaii has its ups and downs. Again, thanks you guys for watching my videos, and I'll talk to you later, yeah?